For today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to change colors for every of the basic stitches that we revised in my previous video. And I'm going to be making 14 foundation single crochets. I'm going to leave a tail that is long enough to accommodate 14 stitches. And just for a quick recap, I'm going to make a slip knot, put my hook, wrap the tail around my hook, and then yarn over, pull through. I'm going to repeat this 14 times. I have 14 stitches now, and I'm going to be splitting this into two. First half will have my green, and then second half will have a new color, which is the yellow I just brought. So right now I'm going to make 7 green single crochets, and then once I make that, I'm going to be switching up my colors. I just completed my 6th stitch, and then going into the 7th one, I'll yarn over, pull through, but instead of completing the stitch, I'm going to leave it the way it is, take my working yarn and put it at the back, then hold it down with my finger to keep it in place. Now I'll take my new yarn, the yarn that I want to switch the colors to, and then I'm going to yarn under. You can see how I placed my hook. You can either yarn over like we normally do or yarn under. I prefer to yarn under because I feel that it just gives me a cleaner transition. So now I'll put that working yarn. I can either put it at the back or I can weave it in. But then I'm going to choose to weave it in so that I don't have to weave in my ends later. So right now, I already switched the colors. So I'll just complete this row making single crochets using my new color. I'm at the end of the row right now, making my last stitch. Once I'm done doing this, I'm going to finish up this, chain 1, turn my work. Don't forget to turn your work like a book, and then continue making my work continue my single crochets until I get to the part where I need to change my colors again. So now I made 6 single crochets. I'm going to go in for the 7th one. Now I have 2 loops on my hook. Instead of completing it, I'm going to leave it like that. And then in the previous round, I put my working yarn at the back. But right now, I'm going to decide on where I want the front and the back of my work to be. So I want it to be at just one side. So I'll put it where my former working yarn was, which is now in front of me. I'll pick up the other yarn that I want to change colors, yarn under and pull through, and then just continue crocheting as normal till I get to the end of the row. I'll chain 1 and then just repeat this over and over and over again. I'm going to make one more row just to show you what it looks like and to explain the positioning or placing of your working yarn so that you can so that your work is neat. Generally, it has one perfectly neat side and then one other side that is quite neat, but I mean not as neat as the front part. So I'm done with that row. Don't forget to also adjust your yarn, because when you don't complete your stitches, it kind of has like a bump. So you pull your working yarn at the back, just like I did in the video, to make sure that your tension is right so that it doesn't affect your tension later on, and then your work just looks pretty neat. So right now I'm going to chain 1 and then just work until I'll make 6 single crochets, and then I'll show you what to do when I get to the part where I want to change my colors. I'm there now, and for my 7th, I will not complete the stitch just like we did before. Now our working yarn is going to the back because that's what we chose to make our bad side. So we're just going to leave it as bad side and good side. Where your working yarn is facing is your bad side, while where you're not putting your working yarn at all is your good side. So it changes front back depending on the row that you are on. You just need to decide on which part of your work you want to make the bad side and what part you want to make the good side. So I'm just going to do a couple more rows so that this will have a little height, and then you can really see the color changes. Don't forget to adjust the yarn that you just dropped, the one that you're currently not working on, to maintain your tension and then so that your work is neat. I did a couple more rows, and this is what my work looks like right now. You can really see the color changes. You can see the front, and then this is the back. The back looks just like the front in a way, but the front parcel looks a little bit better than the back. So right now I'm just going to make a row of green single crochets across to close this particular swatch off, and then we'll move right into half double crochets. Now that I'm done with that, I'm just going to chain one, cut my yarn, and then yeah, I also weaved in my yellow when I was making the last row of green single crochets. So now we're going to move on to half double crochets, and for this one I'll be using this red yarn. Just like I did for the single crochets, I'll be making 14 foundation single crochets. Like I said in my previous video, that I always use foundation single crochets when I'm making anything, literally anything, because it just saves me the stress of having to make chains. So I'm going to make 14 and then I'll get back to you. I just made my 14 single crochets, and like I said, for this one we're going to be doing half double. So I'm going to chain one, make my first half double crochet. I'm going to be making 7 like I did in for the single crochets. I'll make 7 half double crochets, more like 6 half double crochets, and when I'm about to do my seventh one, I'll show you how to change the colors. Actually, the color changing for single and half double crochets are very similar. You do your half double crochet as normal, but instead of completing it, what you're going to do is leave it that way. Now put your working yarn at the back and hold it in place just like we did for the single crochet. Now bring in your new color, other yarn, and then color where you want to, what you're going the to color do that you want to change your finger to, and then yarn under. Like I said earlier, you can choose to yarn over, but I prefer to yarn under. But then for this one, I will not be weaving my ends in, just so that you can see that you don't have to weave your ends in compulsorily. I just did that for the single crochet because I didn't want to have to weave it in later. So you change the yarn, so just crochet as normal till you get to the end of that row. Now I'm at the end. I'm doing my very last stitch, and once I'm done with this, I'll just chain one, crochet as normal, then I'll make 6 half double crochets, and then when I need to change my colors again to the red, I'll show you what to do. Now, don't forget that, like I said before, that when you're crocheting this, because you did not complete this stitch when you were trying to change your colors, it always has this bump. So make sure you pull that for the tension so that your tension is not affected, and then your work also has a very fine look. So now I'm going in to make my seventh stitch, and instead of completing it, I'll also leave it. Now I'll put my working yarn where the former one is. That represents the back of my work. And then I'll bring in my new yarn, yarn under, pull through, and then just crochet and continue as normal till I get to the end. And then I'm going to do this for a couple of rows so that we see what it looks like when it's a bit larger, and then we move right into double crochets. I made a few more rows, and then this is what it looks like. I also did what I did for the single crochets, that I did one row of red, and that's what it looks like. Now let's move on to double crochets. I already made my 14 foundation single crochets, and right now I'm going to chain one and then make a single crochet, just like I make my double crochets. I make a single crochet, and then I go into the loop at the back, the part that is facing me. I put my hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then make sure it's a straight, then complete it. That way I have two single crochets on top of each other, which is literally the same height as a double crochet, but then it just gives my work a smoother edge and a straighter side. So right now I already made six double crochets, and then to change my colors, start my seventh double crochet, and then I'll pull through the first two loops, but instead of completing the second one, just like to complete a normal double crochet, I'm going to leave it that way, put my working yarn at the back and hold it in place, then bring in my new yarn, the color that I want to change it to, yarn under, pull it through. Now put that one at the back, the part that I'm not working on the tail at the back, and then just continue my double crochets as normal. So right now when I get to the end of this row, I'm going to chain one, make my single crochet, then put another single crochet on top of that single crochet, and I'll make six double crochets and show you how I'm going to change the colors again. I'm on my next row now, and I'm making my single crochet. I'll put my hook at the line at the back, yarn over, pull through, make sure it's the same height, and then yarn over and pull through again. Now I'll make my six double crochets, and I'll show you how I'm going to change the colors. So I just did my sixth one. I'm about to do my seventh one, and then this time around, instead of putting my working yarn where my working yarn should normally be, I'll put it at the other side and then pull my new yarn forward, and then take that yarn that I put at the other side and bring it where I want my working yarns to be. So the reason I do this is because the once I do it that way, it helps my double crochet stand better. So I don't know, you probably have to rewatch that part so that you get the idea or the hang of it. But you can also decide to put your working yarn where you just want it to be. As for me, it just helps my double crochet stand better. I would recommend that you watch that again. So I pulled it through. You can see the height of my double crochet, and then I'll bring that working yarn, the one that I'm not working on, back to the back where I want my working yarns to be, and then I'll just crochet as normal. You can watch this part as many times as you need so that you can understand it well. So yeah, I'm just going to continue my work right now. Like you can see how clean the transition is because of that. And you can see that the height of my double crochet is actually how it is meant to be. So that I don't have a bump where I don't have a bend where I'm transitioning the colors. So yes, I'm just going to complete this, and that's all for today's tutorial. See you in my next one. Bye.